Say it like you mean it. Ooh, ooh, shout it out. Okay, let me not get in trouble. Oh, I can't make this sound. What is happening? I don't know why somebody want me to get copyright sued or something. I ain't got no money. I mean, I'm just saying, I ain't got money. Like, I ain't got that kind of money. Okay. Me and my struggle wig. Listen. Hey everyone. So I wanted to come on Chanel's Reality today. Thank you guys for being with me. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Like my videos, please, please, please. It's a free and easy way to support the channel, support me. I'm trying to build my YouTube empire here, or maybe a village. I don't know. I don't know if I need an empire. You know, I have an empire in real life, so you know. No, I wanted to come on here, and I'm being all happy and stuff, but we got to talk about Wendy Williams, and I don't know. My natural state of being is fun, you know? Like, I'm just like, I'm team fun, you know? And maybe it's because, you know, I work in social services. I give therapy to young adults and children and adults as well. And sometimes that can be heavy, you know? I love my job. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But because I do that all day long, sometimes you just want to be happy, you know, when you leave from doing that. But, you know, duty calls. I gotta, you know, if I want to build my community, I gotta come on here and give y'all the information. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, let's see. So I oh no, y'all. I thought I plugged it in. Maybe I didn't plug in my iPad. Oh, please. Look. I got my cord. Oh, I plugged it into this computer. Oh, see? Oh, please. Oh, please. Okay. Yeah, we can't have a video going on. You know what I'm saying? How you doing? So, anyways. Oh, let me get the straw out the way. Anywho, sorry. So, I did a video either yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before yesterday on Wendy Williams because she has I believe it's a Lifetime made for TV like documentary, because you know Lifetime they love to do a good documentary, or not really a good documentary. Lifetime is good for listen, it to me it's like Lifetime is like the first 48 but for women. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like women edition, because there's always some woman fed up with a man, and just saying. But anyways, apparently, let me see. For a while now, Wendy Williams and or her team have been working on this Lifetime special, I guess you could say. I guess it's called a special. And my understanding is it started last night, but the reason I did the video the other day is because it was being reported that I believe it's her I don't want to say guardian. I don't want to get it wrong, because she has, from what I can remember, she has a like a conservatorship over her. I believe over like her money and her assets, and like I think even over her own personal body. I'm not 100% sure on that though. And from what I read, the conservatorship, I guess, worker, or the person that is over her in that capacity, is trying to block this Lifetime special, or whatever the case may be. You know, it's sad. It's sad because, listen, I've said this before, and I'm not a fake person, so I'm just gonna keep it 100. And I wasn't a big Wendy Williams fan. And it's probably because I'm a social worker. It's probably because I'm a social worker. So just by default, and a therapist, my mind, whenever people are having a hard time or they're struggling with something, whatever it is, my mind automatically probably goes to empathy mode, you know, and then I want to hear them out and see how I can help them, you know, whatever. So Wendy wouldn't be my person, because she does the opposite. You know, it's like I'm trying to, keep people together. And her job was to come on TV and talk about all the that's going on in people's personal lives. Specifically, I would say more celebrities. And so for me, I just always felt like I want to build people up. That's just, and I'm saying that to say I just keep it 100 with me. I'm just telling you who I am. And there's somebody for everything. I could never be you wouldn't want me to be your accountant. I hate spreadsheets. I can't. Listen, I can spend money. I don't know about trying to, put it in a spreadsheet. Um, I also couldn't be like the president of the United States or somebody, a general in the army or the Navy. That's just not my ministry. So, but you got to have somebody for everybody. And for Wendy Williams, she was the queen, I would say, somewhat of the pop culture, probably prior to social media, like queen. She just was the person. I think she built her reputation off of being a little bit of a shock jock, just a little bit of a shock jock, um, and getting really good interviews and just saying it like she mean it. That's why I love her intro. What it used to be, feel it, feel it, feel it, come on and feel it, say it like you mean it. Okay, I know I can't sing, but you get the point, right? So, anyways, I'm saying all that to say this. She wasn't my person, but she, in my opinion, on some level helped us really kind of me being in this video on this YouTube channel, right? Because she opened the doors, I would say, for people to, you know, as a woman rather, because Howard Stern and all them, they've been saying being shock jocks for the past 50 years, and it's all good. When a woman does it, it's anyway. Don't get me started on that rabbit hole. Um, so I think she inspired a lot of people, especially people who want to gossip and they're into everybody's business. That type those type of people, and they look up to her. Like I'm sometimes on YouTube panels and I could tell there's so much love and like it's weird to me because it's almost like they hold her in high regard, like for what she did, which is totally opposite for me. I'm just saying. I'm not knocking the people that do, um, because that's their lane. That's who that's what they like. Um, but if I hadn't watched her show when I did, used to watch it, and I wasn't an avid watcher, but had I not, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to this iPad right now. So thank you, Wendy, for that. So, anywho, we're gonna get into it. This is not gonna be a long video, but like I said the other day, it's being reported right now. I'm looking at who is this? The New York Post. Oh no, the New York Times wrote Wendy Williams has frontal temporal dementia and aphasia. Um, her representatives say. So that's problematic. How do I know that's problematic? Is I do work with people who have mental disorders or who have like intellectual disabilities, um, people who've had, because I can never really determine which one comes first, but people who have drug addiction problems, a lot of times there's a mental component, but I can never tell which one comes first because it does depend on when you get diagnosed and what criteria you meet and things like that. So for me, I always do wonder that. I always am like, were they doing drugs and then that caused, or led to the dementia? But let me be very clear. People with dementia, it doesn't mean that they did drugs. I'm just simply saying that a lot of times people who have drug abuse or substance abuse problems, many of them, in my experience, the people that I've worked with, also had mental disorders. Or I think sometimes I know for sure, sometimes drugs can cause you to be in, it can cause a psychotic break. Like it can cause you to be in psychosis. Certain drugs can cause you to be in psychosis. And so that's why I say it's like, I always wonder, was there an underlying mental illness there that just wasn't diagnosed? Or was it solely that this person used this particular drug and as a result, this happens? I know when I used to watch Wendy, I was shocked when I finally found this out because, like I said, I didn't watch it every day, but I do remember one year she was saying she was saying that she had a cocaine problem, and I was like, whoa. Um, and I also thought, that's a big statement in my opinion, because okay, let me just be clear. When you go look for a job, the lower level people, we working in the office, but we the receptionists, or we're the frontline workers at a hospital, whatever. Those people, corporate America and the corporate Americans love to drug test those people. But they're not drug testing the CEO and the CFO and the comptroller. Be clear. So those people could be doing all kinds of drugs, but they ain't testing for it. They testing because they don't want, the lady down the hall to, be stealing paper clips and paper. I'm just saying. Um. Anyway, so I was very shocked when she disclosed that. I was just like, wow, that's brave. Because a lot of people, when you talk about mental illness, people are so, for lack of a better word, but this is just true. People are so uninformed and ignorant about it. And then there's I would say, a cultural component, meaning your family and your culture grew up a certain way and they didn't believe in mental illness, or they believed, that child is okay. You just gotta, whoop them and they'll do right. You can't whoop a child out of ADHD. You can't. You can try to manage it with medication and therapy and things like that, but you can't. It's like you can't whoop somebody out of schizophrenia. If you have schizophrenia, it is a lifelong disorder. You're going to have it for the remainder of your life. But it doesn't mean that you have to, that it can't be managed, right? So, anywho, like I said, it's a lot of shame around it and ignorance around it. And because of that, a lot of people go either undiagnosed or underdiagnosed, or, like I said, because unfortunately, people's family members, a lot of times, they're ashamed. I created a child that has this disorder kind of thing, It's unfortunate. I'm just telling you from my perspective and the work history that I have, I know people that it's very interesting. So it says here, representatives for the former daytime talk show host announced her diagnosis 2 days before the release of a two-part documentary about her health issues. So that's the documentary I was telling you that Lifetime was trying to, I guess, push through. And then I think, I don't know if I would call it, I don't think it's her guardian, but I'm going to just keep saying conservator, because that's usually a person who they have legal rights over whatever the person that's in their conservatorship does. It's similar to a guardian, but not exactly. So, anyway, it's a little nuanced. So, let's see. So it says here, Wendy Williams, the former talk show host, has been diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia and aphasia, a disorder that makes it difficult or impossible for a person to express or comprehend language. So that's the aphasia for sure. It's like you in your mind, you know what it is, but you can't say it. Like the word won't come forward. We've all experienced where you're just like, oh my God, I'm not saying what we've all experienced as like memory fog is this. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying we've all been there where we're like, oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. That's what I'm saying. But that's not this. So just be clear. And let me just say this. All of the things that I say here on Chanel's Reality are my opinion, and are alleged. Okay? Everything that I put on here is alleged. So, like I said, this is the New York, is this the New York Post? No, New York Times, sorry. So, the situation is sad. I know I saw Wendy Williams' niece on The View, and she disclosed that Wendy is somewhere, wherever she is. I'm not sure exactly where they have her living, but wherever she is undisclosed, so the family doesn't know. And so I'm assuming the guardian or the conservator they want that private. I don't know why though. So on one hand, because like I said, I worked with people who we had conservatorship over them, but they still had families and they still had technical guardians and things like that, especially if they didn't have family. But so I was a program manager, and so we rendered services to these individuals. So like I had staff that would, go in the home, shower them, make sure they have their meds, food, and all that. So that's what I'm saying. I know about how guardianship works and how all of that stuff works. It's nuanced. It's nuanced. And I say that because I was just saying about how the Wendy's niece was on The View. And she was basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing, but she was basically saying she doesn't have access. The family doesn't have any access to Wendy. If I'm not mistaken, I think she said Wendy can contact them. So Wendy can reach out to them via, I guess, phone or whatever, but they cannot reach out to her. It's a one-way street. And that's why I was talking about the nuance of it, because on the one hand, if we lived in a perfect world, ideally, it would be like, yeah, tell the family, give them all the information. That just sounds logical, right? It sounds reasonable and logical. But again, I say that's ideally, right? Because not all of your family are good people. Let's just keep it a book. They're just not all good people. So let me be very clear, though. I'm not saying that's the case with Wendy's family, but I am saying it's two sides to it. So the first thing I think about when I hear that is that the family doesn't have, access to her in that way. She can call out, but they can't call her. I think about things like, maybe they're doing that to protect her for some reason. Because sometimes, someone calls you, it gets certain people with certain disorders riled up. That's me giving them the benefit of the doubt that's what's actually happening. Other reasons may be that it could cause them sometimes, like I said, it can cause anxiety. It can cause people to fall deeper into whatever it is that they were already, battling. It's unfortunately sometimes for some people traumatic, in the same way that is if you were brought in by the police, like on an EDO, and basically you were brought into the behavioral health part of the hospital, because you were running down the street naked, whatever. They bring you in. They're gonna put you on a involuntary. And they're going to put you in the involuntary part of the hospital for behavioral health and monitor you. Most likely they're going to, they're going to have a doctor unless you somehow break out. But that's never going to happen. They'll have a doctor examine you and assess you, and they'll make a determination of if you have a mental disorder or is this a drug-induced altered mental issue. Because like I said, certain drugs can make you very paranoid and think people are after you and that kind of stuff. So they have to make that determination. And also to stabilize you, right? So even if you were on drugs, they're going to give you things to kind of counteract those drugs. And I'm speaking from my experience, and I'm not saying this is the gold standard across the board, right? But yeah, the goal is to stabilize you, and then, if you need a treatment plan and things like that, you're gonna need a treatment plan for the first day or two, because if you come in there first because you're in psychosis, you're gonna need a treatment plan. But I'm saying something to kind of really probably a treatment plan and a safety plan. So when you leave here, you can kind of manage yourself, right? So like I said, so there could be a component of it where the guardianship person or the conservatorship are trying to keep the family out for whatever the reason is that they're deeming that it's going to be problematic for the individual that is receiving services at the hospital, right, or at the treatment center. So that's one component. You usually would come up with something like that during the assessment, or if they did like a psychosocial assessment or something like that, where they're asking the patient to go a little more deeper about their childhood, where they are, how do they get where they are, that type of thing, and they'll ask you questions like, uh, do you have mental health in your family? How many siblings you have? Whatever, whatever, whatever. They're trying to get a good gauge, just like if you were, came to the hospital and you had heart problems. They're trying to get a gauge of how many times has this happened? What type of environment do you live in? Is this hereditary, genetics? So they're trying to paint a picture, so that they can come up with a treatment plan. So, like I said, but that's the ideal situation for somebody to say, okay, this person doesn't necessarily have the best people around them, and so you got to go through this conservatorship and or the person that's in charge of that to be able to access your loved one, because they're supposed to be protective of those people so that they're not misused or abused or exploited or any of those things. So that's one half of it. I don't know much about Wendy's family. I know her dad and her mom would come on every so often, and I just feel like they were so proud of her. So they would come, at least I feel like a few times a year, and it was really cool to see that, I think. Um, and I knew she had a niece that you could tell, because she talked about her niece a lot, that she really really loved her niece. So I say that to say, although I don't know Wendy and her family, like I said, I get the impression just from listening to her that she loved her auntie and she's there to do the right thing. And she may have always been there, but I feel like the niece and I think I think Wendy has a sister and a brother. I don't really know much about them, but I feel like she's close to her sister. Oh, sorry guys. Ooh, excuse me. I feel like she's close to her sister. I know she definitely was close to her niece. And to me, to have the niece go on the view makes me think something is very wrong. It feels like if you're pulling someone that, from my experience, I've never heard this lady talk. I've never seen a picture, none of that. And I used to watch Wendy Williams. Um, so to me, it felt like her family, aside from her mom and her dad, were very private. That's what it felt like. At least that's the only information. I never even knew the lady's name. So to me, for the one Wendy talked about how she loved her so much or loves her so much to be speaking out, to me that just says I just see a red flag. And I'm not talking about a bad one. I'm saying it is a bad one, but in reference to, not to the niece, in reference to whatever else is going on. Because it's like, if her niece has her best interest and this is a person that she's trusted all this time, why would you not involve the family? I know whenever I had patients that were dealing with the, you know, psychosis or some sort of, you know, substance abuse situation, the people that usually can give you, the best information is the family or friends, the people close to them. And yes, there could be, like I said, the parents could be problematic and so could the friends, but you have to try, right? But that's what you get in the assessment. Who would you say you trust? Let the patient tell you, right? And then you can reach out to them from there. But it's odd to me that that the family can't contact her, because I'm like, why? It doesn't really make any sense. So like I said, it's nuanced, because like I said, some people, from what I've heard over the past few years since Wendy left her TV show, it's come out, publicly that, Wells Fargo basically was like, something's up here and we're not going to allow it. And I think that and I'm paraphrasing here, but the consensus I got was that Wells Fargo felt like Wendy Williams was not being protected, meaning her financial status or her finances maybe were being manipulated or drained or something. They didn't say directly, in my opinion. And shortly after they made, this statement about how, like, basically I feel like they not closed her account, but they like wouldn't allow access or something, like froze it. Shortly after that, excuse me, Wendy did a video, which to me was sus. Okay, it was just real sus. Because in the video, she starts talking about Wells Fargo has her money and they won't let her have her money. And immediately I'm like, oh my God, why are they, for me, I'm like, what the hell is happening? Leave that lady her money. And initially, like I said, the story that was being kind of, I feel like, shopped around, so to speak, or given out there is, you know, these people at Wells Fargo are doing something nefarious and they just, don't want to give this lady her money. She worked hard for it. I just think there are safeguards in place for certain things like that. It's possible that Wendy set up that safeguard years ago, in case somebody was to try to come and, take her money or whatever. So, it's been reported for a while now that some of the people around her are not the best. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that's what's been reported. That some of the people are just, they don't have her best interest at heart. Um, and let me just say this too. It doesn't always work this way, because there's tons of people in, like I said, in behavioral health, or that have therapy, or they're dealing with some sort of trauma or toxic situation, or their family life, their early life was, terrible, whatever the case may be. It doesn't always mean that the family is problematic. It doesn't always mean that. It could be both people are problem, both sides are problematic. Problematic. It could be that, the person is using the drugs or whatever is the problem, or, they're problematic. But I would think, if you're trying to help someone who isn't healthy, in it physically or mentally, emotionally, or whatever, it would be best for them to have people around them that have their best interest at heart and that can help them. That's something familiar where you don't feel so alone. So that's my thing. Like, if everything that is being reported is true, and Wendy's not in her right mind and things like that, I would think you would want to trigger, her with the good emotions of family and friends and things like that. So that's the part where I'm like, I don't understand why they're keeping the family out. But then the other part to me that makes it suspect, it's kind of like, why do I want this lady to see her family? It just feels like somebody hiding something. And I just feel like if it don't add up, there's a lie somewhere. Just me. That's just what I'm saying. I just think there's a lie somewhere. Um, the other part to that is, everybody isn't savory. Everybody isn't. People are morally corrupt in this world. Stop me when I'm lying. Stop me when I'm lying. They will sit in your face and smile in your face and be robbing you blind. Okay? It has to be clear. People get taken advantage of by people they know. Just like people get, unalived typically by people they know. It isn't the creepy drifter man from up the street. It's your uncle. Okay? Or the boyfriend or the baby daddy. It's always, don't get me started. So you can't always just trust, the family either. But I trust the niece. I don't know why. Maybe because of how many times, Wendy talked about her and her affinity for her niece. So I'm hoping, I hope this gets resolved soon. I really do. The thing that I was listening to earlier is that because of this type of diagnosis, it's been reported, that there's a time frame that Wendy has left. And that's very unfortunate to me. And I'm hoping that by some chance or some miracle, she could get something that could prolong that for her, but also for, like, I think about her son. Now, I don't know her son from a can of paint, but I know just from watching Wendy Williams for so many years, she wanted a baby. She wanted to have kids, and she disclosed many times that, she was pregnant many times, but, she would have like a miscarriage, or it wouldn't come to term or something like that. And so when she finally got, with her husband, and she got pregnant with her son Kevin, it was just, I felt like it was her pride and joy, because it's terrible to have it's traumatic to have a miscarriage. And if you're going to be if you're a person who's had multiple ones, it's very traumatic, because it's like, you want to share this happy news, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Share this happy news. You're creating a life. It's a big deal, right? But then what happens when you have to share that the baby's not, And then, okay, so we're going to be strong, God got us, and then it happens again and again and again. And that's what it seemed like happened with Wendy. So that's why I say, I feel like for her son was just like everything to her. People need their parents. It's just that I'm worried for him. because from what the streets say about the father of her ex-husband, he's just not a very savory human being. He's just not, from what is being reported about him, allegedly, he's just not the most above board person. Just saying. Questionable morals is what I would say. Um, but I'll say this one last thing. Like, I just feel like it's beyond crazy to me, because it's like, I don't know, maybe this would have happened anyways, but it's just so bizarre to me that the moment she stopped messing with Kevin and I'm divorcing him and he got fired as a stage manager or whatever the case may be, it just seemed like her life did this. And like I said, it could have been on its way to doing that, because I feel like a year before she divorced him or whatever, um, she announced that she was like in a sober house or something like that. So to me, that's when they announced it. I don't know when she actually got there. She could have been there for the past 2 years. I don't know. And maybe it was because, just like her and her business, they snoop around and everybody can't be trusted. Even though things are supposed to be confidential, stuff gets released. So I think Wendy's the type of person that wants to get ahead of it. So so for me, I'm just kind of like, it's so bizarre that after he stepped away, which he to me seemed like the problem, in my opinion. The problem in terms of like the controlling, seemingly, allegedly controlling of her and her career and everything she did. That's what it seemed like. Um, so I was just kind of like, free Wendy, just saying. And then she filed for divorce. She just had a lot of trauma, I feel like, in the last few years. Her mom passed. She had I think she had lymphoma or something, where like her legs and feet or something were swelling. And like I said, she announced she was in like a sober living place. And then, she ended up losing, like I said, she got divorced because her ex-husband had a baby with this girl, this lady over here, allegedly. And then she lost her show. It's a lot. Loss is a real thing. And it's very traumatic, And so don't let people tell you that you need to move on. It's your trauma. Nobody can tell you when to move on. You shouldn't live in it daily, because you got to be able to function. But can't nobody tell you it. Nobody. First of all, let's be clear. Trauma is lifelong. If y'all stay on my channel, you're gonna hear me say that a lot, because it's triggering for people, for someone to tell them that they need to move on. It's just like, I have to tell my patients and clients, like, you move on when it's good for you. And here's the thing. People don't walk around in trauma all day long. Most of us don't walk around in that trauma. But we all get triggered. And just because someone is triggered 25 years after they lost their spouse in a car wreck or had a miscarriage or whatever the loss was, doesn't mean that they haven't gotten over it. You don't get over trauma. You don't. You figure out ways, techniques, methods to cope with trauma. That's what really happens. But people think that, oh, well, if you don't talk about it, or you're not sitting around crying, that it's gone. It's not. That's how come if if your mom passed away from cancer and you watch a movie where mom passed away from cancer, you get triggered. It's not that you're walking around every day, oh my God, woe is me. But you get triggered because the trauma is still there. And it's always going to be there. Just is what it is, in my opinion. So apparently they were not able to stop the Lifetime movie or documentary thing, because it was shown on Lifetime last night. So I think part 1 and part 2 was shown. And then tonight they're showing the next 2 parts. I'm really curious to see what's on there. I've heard from some people that it's heavy, which I'm sure it would be. Because just the few things that we've talked about, drug use, your parents gone, you got a conservatorship, you don't have rights over your own self, people taking your money, allegedly, you got divorced from your husband, you lost your show. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then now, your health. And let's be clear, without your health, you can't do anything. You can't control nothing. Not even if you wanted to. You can't. So I want everybody to chime down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Because, listen, this is my conspiracy theory, okay? It's a conspiracy theory, okay? It's just for entertainment purposes. I've watched maybe too much crime TV. It's always the husband or the boyfriend, baby dad, somebody. Um, and I was on my way to go get some chicken nuggets from McDonald's. Shout out to McDonald's. But y'all, your chicken nuggets are right now, okay? The quality control is good now, okay? But anyways, I was on my way to McDonald's to get some food, and I was sitting there in the line thinking to myself, I was thinking about Wendy Williams and this scenario, and I just thought to myself, I wonder if the ex put something in something. Because this is the thing. And I'm not saying it could have been anybody. I'm not even saying anyone did anything. Let's be very clear. I'm saying in my conspiracy theory mind, and I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, okay? I live in reality. But I'm just saying it populated in my head. I was like, the reason that I feel that way, that that's possible, is because, like I said earlier, she seemed to be perfectly fine. That's the way she seemed. And listen, I work in mental health, so I know people can seem fine and be very depressed and then unalive themselves, but they look fine, right? You don't have to be depressed. You walk into any building or any office or whatever, and you say good morning or hello and ask people how they doing. Their canned response is, I'm good. Your whole life is messed up, ma'am. Your husband's been cheating on you with your bestie, or you lost your job, your house going into foreclosure, somebody broke in your house. Like, you know what I'm saying? But people are not going to talk about that stuff. When in reality, let me be clear from my, perspective. If you talked about it, you could get through it. And then other people would be willing to talk about it and get through theirs as well. But a lot of times people were taught this toxicity of like, keep yourself to yourself. Your circle need to be small. Don't tell nobody when you winning. And it's just, I'm telling everybody when I'm winning. Okay? I don't know if it's because I'm a Leo and I just don't care about what you think because I'm winning. Plus, I'm just not what do you call it? I'm not a person who gets jealous of other people. I don't have a jealous bone in my body. I'm like, so the Chanel, okay, girl, I like your Chanel boots. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how to get my Chanel boots. I'm not jealous of you. Not even in the least bit. It's just not how I'm wired. But my crime TV hat came on and I was just like, what if that man put something, or what if someone put something in her something? Or what if they started giving her some sort of, prescribed something to alter her state of being? Because be clear, when you get psychotropic drugs for different disorders, it's typically, depending on what type of disorder you have, it's a mental restraint. Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Sorry. It's my bedtime. So I got to go ahead and close this video. So like I said, let's, continue this conversation down in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, guys, I'm just trying to build my little, Chanel's reality community. And I would love for you guys to be a part of it. If you did watch this all the way to the end, thank you. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed, and thank you for checking out my channel. I really, really do appreciate it. Hit the like button as well and the notification button, so that way, if I go live or anything like that, you'll know if I upload a video, things like that. Thank you guys for spending your time with me. I really, really do appreciate it. But the last thing I wanted to say or just mention is that I want to do a colorism panel. And I don't want to have a colorism panel so that people can fight and, be angry at each other. I want to have just a conversation. What are your experiences? One, I do want to describe, what colorism is so that people don't get it confused. It's an element of racism, right? It's a part of it, but it's nuanced and it's inside of that particular race or race group or culture. Anywho. If you guys are interested in that, send me an email, send me a message. You can chime down in the, as Mr., what is his name? DJ Scott or Scott Ritchie, DJ, I don't know. I love him though. As he would say, chime down in the chatterization. So yeah, so get down in the, tell me. I want y'all to tell me what you think about, what's going on with Wendy. Are you sad for her? I am. Are you thinking that, what do you think about her sister? What do you think about them not being able to have access to her in that way? And what's going on with her money? And do you think that whoever was trying to stop this video, this documentary from airing, what do you think that's about? And why would they be trying to do that? That's just very interesting. Because I'm like, Wendy Williams, from what I understand, executive produced it, I think, or she was involved. So if the lady that it's about is involved, I don't know why she would, if she's saying release my, I don't know, it's her video. But so let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you watched it already. Spill some tea down in the in the comments. But until next time, thank you guys so much for being a part of my little Chanel's reality community. I really appreciate you guys, and y'all have a good night. Love you all. Bye. Till next time.